K-drama cycle begins. When the first blurry photos of Mayu stepping into a private hospital appeared online, no one imagined they would ignite one of the most intense mystery storms of 2026. At first glance, the images seemed ordinary. No dramatic gestures, no visible distress, no emergency vehicles. Just Mayu, dressed in neutral tones, face partially covered, moving quickly and quietly as if she already knew someone was watching. Within minutes, those photos vanished from the original source. But by then, it was too late. Screenshots had already spread across fan communities, private group chats, and international forums. And with Lenamiu fans, nothing exists in isolation. Every detail matters. Every silence speaks louder than a statement. What truly unsettled fans wasn't the hospital itself. It was how perfectly the sighting aligned with Channel 3's sudden silence. For weeks leading up to that day, industry insiders had been whispering about a secret safe zone prequel, a project so tightly controlled that even mid-level staff weren't briefed on its full scope. No official casting announcements. No leaked scripts. Only a vague internal codename and an unusual spike in security around one particular production wing. And then Mayu appeared at the hospital. Not long after, Lena quietly cancelled a scheduled appearance. No explanation. No reschedule. Just a brief notice citing private reasons. Fans began to feel it, that familiar tightening in the chest that comes when something big is happening and no one wants you to know yet. This wasn't panic. This was preparation. According to multiple entertainment insiders, Channel 3's safe zone wasn't a standard drama concept. It was described as a psychological emotional narrative, one that explores isolation, identity collapse, emotional dependence, and healing under pressure. The prequel, in particular, was rumored to focus on before everything fell apart, the fragile moments that shape who we become long before the world is watching. And roles like that don't come easy. Actors preparing for such characters often undergo medical evaluations, psychological consultations, and physical conditioning. Not because they are sick, but because the story demands vulnerability at a level that can't be faked. That's where the hospital sighting took on a new meaning. Sources close to the production hinted that Mayu's visit wasn't about treatment, it was about assessment. Stress thresholds. Endurance checks. Emotional regulation. The kind of preparation you only go through when the role is expected to leave a mark. Fans noticed something else too. Mayu didn't post afterward. For someone known for staying connected to fans, the absence felt intentional. Almost ceremonial. As if she had stepped across a line, out of public comfort and into a protected space where nothing could be shared. And Lena. She followed suit. No playful interactions. No teasing comments. No shared moments. Just quiet. That silence became the loudest confirmation fans could ask for. Because Lenamiu, when visible, are unstoppable. But when they go quiet together, it usually means something is being built behind closed doors. Then came the leak. A production scheduling sheet briefly surfaced online, listing a closed prequel shoot under Channel 3. No cast names. No genre description. But the rehearsal dates overlapped precisely with Mayu's hospital visit. And more telling, one line simply read, restricted access. Safe zone protocol. Within minutes, the file was deleted. But fans already had it. Speculation reached a new level. Some believed the hospital visit marked the final stage before filming. Others suggested it was symbolic, a narrative parallel to the story itself. A character entering confinement. A reset before transformation. And that's when Lena's name began trending again. Fans revisited old interviews. Subtle comments. Past roles where Lena spoke about wanting to explore darker, quieter stories. Stories where love isn't loud, but necessary. One particular quote resurfaced again and again. I want to tell a story where silence is louder than words. Suddenly, everything clicked. The Safe Zone prequel wasn't about spectacle. It was about containment. 2 characters. Limited space. Emotional dependency. A relationship formed not out of choice, but survival. And Lenamiu were perfect for it. As theories grew, so did concern. Some fans worried about the emotional toll. Others feared this project would change the dynamic they loved. But a quieter group, the ones who had followed both actresses for years, understood something deeper. This wasn't a risk. This was evolution. Channel 3, long known for playing it safe, seemed ready to gamble everything on a story that couldn't be marketed easily. A story that required secrecy, trust, and actors willing to disappear into their roles completely. And Lenamiu had already agreed. The more fans looked back, the more signs they found. Unusual training schedules, shortened public appearances, closed-door workshops, even changes in styling, simpler clothes, muted tones, less color. As if both actresses were slowly shedding their public personas in preparation for something raw. Then, a quiet confirmation arrived, not from Channel 3, but from someone else entirely. A respected industry therapist, known for working with actors on intense roles, was spotted entering Channel 3's production building multiple times in 1 week. The same therapist rumored to have consulted on emotionally demanding projects in the past. That detail changed everything. This wasn't just a drama. It was a controlled emotional experiment. Fans began calling it the calm before the fracture. And through it all, Channel 3 said nothing. No denials. No confirmations. Just silence. Which, in this industry, often means yes. By early 2026, international fan communities were already bracing themselves. Edits resurfaced. Old Lenamiu moments were reanalyzed. People searched for parallels, hidden meanings, foreshadowing. Some noticed that Lena and Mayu had stopped wearing matching accessories, a small detail, but one fan swore meant they were no longer allowed to mirror each other publicly. Others pointed out that both actresses had started speaking less about chemistry and more about trust in interviews. Trust is what you need when a story strips you bare. And if the Safe Zone prequel truly centers on confinement, healing, and emotional survival, then the hospital sighting wasn't a scandal. It was a doorway. A final step before entering a narrative that doesn't allow escape. As one insider put it, once they start filming, you won't see them the same way again. That sentence haunted fans. Because Lenamiu had always been about warmth, comfort, shared laughter. But this project promised something colder, quieter, more intimate in a way that hurts before it heals. And that's why Channel 3 is protecting it. No trailers. No teasers. No press tours. Because once the story is revealed, it can't be undone. As weeks passed, the online noise reached critical mass. Fan polls. Countdown theories. Even betting odds on whether the prequel would drop without warning. And then, something unexpected happened. A new internal policy was quietly implemented at Channel 3. No behind-the-scenes photos allowed. Not even staff selfies. A level of restriction usually reserved for projects involving national-level IP. That move confirmed what fans already knew. This wasn't just another Lenamiu chapter. K-drama cycle continues. By the time February edged closer, the silence around Channel 3 no longer felt accidental, it felt engineered. Insiders began using a new phrase when referring to the Lenamiu project, emotional lockdown. It wasn't just about secrecy anymore. It was about control. Control of narrative, exposure, and even perception. Everything the public thought they knew was being slowly dismantled. And at the center of it all was the safe zone. According to leaked internal chatter, the prequel wasn't structured like a traditional drama. No clear villain. No heroic arc. Instead, it revolved around two women placed into an enforced emotional boundary, isolated not just from the world, but from their former selves. A space where memory, guilt, and unspoken affection collide. Which made one thing painfully clear. This story could not exist without trust. That's why fans began to understand why Channel 3 chose Lenamiu, not because of popularity, but because of history. Years of shared experiences, unspoken understanding, and a bond that didn't require constant validation. In a project where eye contact mattered more than dialogue, casting strangers would have destroyed the illusion. And yet, what truly shocked fans was the next development. A senior production assistant, anonymous, but verified, hinted that the prequel was filmed out of sequence. Emotional peaks were recorded before emotional foundations. Confession scenes before introductions. Silence before connection. Why? To force authenticity. To make the actresses feel the disorientation their characters were meant to experience. This revelation reframed everything, including the hospital visit. Because preparing for a role like that doesn't begin on set. It begins with dismantling emotional defenses. Around this time, fans noticed something deeply unsettling, but also fascinating. Lenamiu fan accounts began disappearing. Not suspended. Not deleted by users. Removed. Entire archives, gone overnight. Clips, edits, translations, even old interviews vanished from search results. At first, people panicked. Then they noticed a pattern. Only content connected to certain emotional narratives had been targeted. It wasn't censorship. It was curation. Channel 3, according to sources, had quietly acquired partial digital rights to older materials, allowing them to limit the emotional context available to viewers before release. They wanted the audience to meet the characters without preconceived warmth. Without nostalgia. They wanted the story to hurt first. Only then could it heal. Meanwhile, Lena and Mayu remained unseen. No public sightings. No accidental leaks. No airport photos. For two of the most followed figures in the industry, this level of disappearance was unprecedented. And fans felt it. Some worried. Some grew impatient. Others trusted the process. But one emotion united them all, anticipation sharpened by fear. Because when artists vanish this completely, they usually return changed. Then came the soundstage rumor. A restricted indoor set, kept at controlled temperature, with lighting that mimicked early morning shadows. No windows. No clocks. No phones allowed inside, not even for cast. Time, inside the safe zone, was meant to dissolve. A crew member reportedly said, "You forget who you are after a while. That's the point." And in that space, Lena and Mayu were said to have spent hours without dialogue, simply existing together. Breathing. Listening. Waiting. This wasn't acting. This was endurance. Fans later connected this to something Lena once said years ago. Real connection happens when you're uncomfortable enough to stop performing. That quote now felt like prophecy. As March approached, international distributors began circling. Streaming platforms reportedly requested early access, but were denied. Channel 3 refused to sell preview rights. Refused early trailers. Refused even still images. The project would debut on its own terms, or not at all. That decision alone sent shockwaves through the industry. Why risk everything? Because Channel 3 believed this story would redefine Lenamiu, not as an image, but as a phenomenon. Then, another subtle clue surfaced. A composer known for minimalist, emotionally invasive scores updated his portfolio with a single line. Safe Zone, Prequel, unreleased. No credits. No preview. Just that. Music fans understood immediately. This wasn't background sound. This was a score designed to sit inside the chest. To linger. To disturb. The deeper fans looked, the clearer it became. This project wasn't trying to be loved. It was trying to be remembered. And that's when the narrative shifted, from excitement to reverence. People stopped asking when it would release. They started asking if they were ready. Because stories like this don't offer comfort. They offer mirrors. By the final week before total blackout, one last piece fell into place. A private test screening, attended by fewer than 10 people, reportedly ended in silence. No applause. No discussion. Just people leaving quietly, some with red eyes. One attendee later said only this: "You don't watch it. You survive it." And after that, nothing. No updates. No hints. No countdowns. Just a locked door called the safe zone. So now, as 2026 inches closer, one truth has become undeniable. The hospital sighting wasn't a warning. The secrecy wasn't fear. The silence wasn't absence. It was intention. Lenamiu are not returning as you remember them. They are returning as something more fragile. More dangerous. more honest. And when Channel 3 finally opens the gate, it won't ask for your approval. It will ask whether you're willing to step inside. Because once you enter the safe zone, there is no fast exit. And that is exactly why the world is waiting. Black Heart Performing Arts Fire.